Okay, so we're taking a look at our word problem notes. That's worksheet 14 that you have in front of you. This is needed for your notebook that is due next class, because again, what do we have next class? Our test, our Unit 2 test, and Cordale's going to take Unit 2 and Unit 3.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. Okay, so Unit 2 test is next class. This is our last thing we are learning for Unit 2.
Yay.
Word problems, everyone's favorite.
Word problem, right?
Hey, word problem.
That's for Delta's
That's too much
favorite.
words.
Everything's too much word. Just shut up.
Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. We'll do a few example problems, and then we're going to go over any review questions you guys have.
Okay.
Great. Alright, so our steps to problem solving. Anybody guess what the first step is?
Read the question.
How did you know? How did you know?
Alright.
Our first step, read the entire problem. A lot of people do. They read just part of it and then answer it and get it wrong. You see two sentences and you think it's going to take too much time. Read the whole thing. Alright, so the first thing is read the entire problem. There should be an exclamation.
Maybe even two.
Alright. So then,
Sorry, but really quick, if you are the kind of person who, when you read the book, has to read something more than once, what do you think you should do with that word problem?
Read it once.
Read twice.
More than one.
For real. Cordell, you.
at least 3 times. Alright, so stick with me, guys. So after we've read the entire problem once, then we go back through, and just like we did for translating verbal expressions, we want to read it again. But this time as we go through, we should probably underline, circle, highlight, whatever important stuff we need.
Keywords, right?
Yes.
Remember, just like we did with the translating verbal expression, you underline, you put the things on top of it.
Okay, so we want to take note of important information. Okay, and then sometimes it's helpful for us to draw some type of picture or to kind of take notes of what it is that we need.
Annotation.
So that's going to be our next step. Draw a picture if needed. Take notes. Basically organize the information so you know how to use it. Not all of them require pictures, but especially when it's talking about like area of a garden or the perimeter of the yard that you're picking a fence for, it's good to draw pictures for it.
And sometimes by picture we mean like a graph. Like writing a little pie chart or something like that. It doesn't have to be like a cartoon.
Alright, so step 4, whenever, because we're writing equations now, right? We're given a bunch of words and information, and we are now writing the equation for it. Whenever we write the equation, we need to define our variables. Alright, who here likes donuts?
Glaze.
Alright, so we're going to go with Jenny eats, let's say, 7 donuts an hour. So the amount of, she loves donuts. They're great. They're so good. So the amount of donuts that Jenny consumes is based upon how many hours. So let's say that Jenny eats 7 donuts an hour.
Doritos.
Well, if you came up to, let's say you took this equation here. We know this represents the number of donuts that Jenny eats. That's this guy. And we know that this represents how many hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you took this equation and you went over to your English teacher and said, here you go, D equals 7H. And your English teacher's going to go, okay, great, what does that mean? So we need to say what these variables mean. We need to say that H is hours, and that D is the number of donuts Jenny eats. 7 hours, pretty good. There's actually a race that I've heard about where you run 2 miles, eat a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts, and then run 2 miles back.
Oh, man.
Doesn't sound great.
Sounds like I'm
I
gonna
drop out the donut part.
I don't think I'd be able to eat a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts in one week. They're so good at
I'll
that.
take them home in a delivery bag.
I would donate like
Speed and fruit donut.
I would donate
Just
like
fine.
it.
That's
You gotta
true.
sit there.
You want to enjoy your rest.
Even when I do stay home, they go away pretty quickly.
That's true. Even when you do try to hide.
Alright, so then step 5. Once we've defined our variables, we can set up our equations and solve. Set up our equations and solve. And it's always good to check your answers like we've done before. Check your answers to make sure they make sense, to make sure that you didn't create the wrong equation and thus have the wrong answer. So if I told you that Jenny was eating donuts for 3 hours, and you got an answer of 108, then look at it and think to yourself, well, 7 donuts an hour. It's only been 3 hours. Did she really eat 108 donuts?
If you eat 21 by
She
that.
would have eaten 21. Very good, Evan. She would have eaten 21. So look at your answer. If you're able to substitute it back in to make sure it makes sense, do so. Okay, so let's go and just do a couple problems. I'm going to just pick a few to do. Your review packet has some extra problems in it, so instead of having you do a whole bunch in here, we're going to have you do some here so we can go over some problems for your test as review, and then you'll have the ones in your review packet for homework. Alright, so let's start off with this one. It's on the back side. This is number 4 in your notes, where it says find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 96. Alright, so it's the back side. Number 4. So we read it once. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 96. Now let's go back through and pick out important information. Find 3 integers. So we know we have to have 3 total numbers. Anybody know what an integer is? Go ahead, Jenny. Yeah, it's a whole number that can be either positive or negative. So basically, no decimals. Very good, no fractions. Alright, so 3 consecutive integers, so this is whole numbers. Both positive and negative. Alright, anybody know what consecutive means?
Back to back.
Yeah, if we have consecutive wins, say the Nats have 3 consecutive wins, that means they won back to back to back. So in a row, basically. So consecutive in a row. Someone give me an example of 3 consecutive integers. Just an example.
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, and 5. This one, whole numbers, and they can be positive or negative. Alright, so we have 3 numbers have to be in a row. And what does it mean if it says whose sum is 96? That we're adding them together. Good, the sum means that we're adding it together. What about is 96?
Equals.
Equals 96. Good. Alright, so that's a good chunk of our equation there. Alright, well, let's go ahead and set that part up. We know they have to add together to equal 96. So I'm going to have my first number plus my second number. That'll make a good number. Plus my third number equals 96. Okay? Well, we don't know what these numbers are, right? When we don't know the value, we usually pick a variable. What variable do you guys want to use?
S.
C.
S.
C.
S.
C.
S.
C.
S.
I think I heard M.
S.
C.
No S. S.
Actually, I think the first one I heard was C. Was that right?
No, it was S. It was S. It was S.
Oh, K for Krispy Kreme. Right, right.
S for
Okay,
sugar
so
stuff.
K.
Sydney.
Hey, you went with the donut route. Okay, so my first how we know what the next number is?
Yes.
We could pick another letter, right?
Yep.
But then we'd have 3 variables, and there's no way we could solve for the actual number. Let's take a look at it. Let's use our example of consecutive integers over here. If k is my first number, what do I do to get to my second number? How do I get from 3 to 4? You add 1, right?
Yeah.
Alright, now that so we know my next number is going to be k plus 1. But the trickiest part, what is this going to be?
Oh, k plus 2.
K plus 2, right, good. K plus 2, you guys got it.
No, it's just me. It's just me.
Because here's my first number. In order to know the next one, I just add 1 to that. In order to know 2 later, I just add 2 to it. You could have done k plus 1 plus 1. That's an easy
Yeah.
question. Okay, great. So we have our equation here. Alright, when we're solving equations, and this is important, this is on your test, when we're solving equations, we get rid of parentheses, right? There's no parentheses
Yeah,
here.
group it.
But we have to do what?
Grouping.
We have to group our like terms together. So, Julia, what like terms do you see on the left side here? Yeah, we have a bunch of k's here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many total do we have?
3.
Right, we have 3k. Got this one, got that one. Alright, then we have our numbers here.
Plus 1. Plus 2.
So we have, sorry. So we combine our like terms. Alright, we've been doing solving for pretty much this entire unit. So we're just solving here, we had to just first set up our equation.
Minus 3.
Subtract 3, very good. So 3k, those cancel out. 96 minus 3? 93. What do we do? Divide by 3, good. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. Well, 1k is just k. What's 93 divided by 3?
31.
31. Are we done?
No.
Who knows why we're not done, other than the fact
Yeah,
that...
because we have to find.
Yes, they said find 3 consecutive integers. We've only found the first one. Let me make some room here.
Wait, what was that one?
That was just an example. You can leave it there. I just am running out of room. Alright, so 31 is my first number. What's the next one?
32, 33.
And 33.
Oh. Sydney.
I remember we said check your answers when you're able to. If I were to add together 31 plus 32 plus 33, do I get 96?
So it's a complete one.
Yes.
We do. So I know it works.
But we should have used S. It would have been more.
We could have used S. Alright, any questions on that?
No.
Fantastic. So this type of problem is pretty popular in Algebra 1. You most likely have one on your review. You may or may not have one on your test. And you probably will have one on the SOL. They like this type of problem. Consecutive integers.
Does this one work?
Oh, we're not done yet. What are you doing? Alright, the next one. In Detroit, the temperature is 69 degrees Fahrenheit and it's rising at a rate of 2 degrees Fahrenheit per hour.
That's a dish right there, rising.
In Atlanta, the temperature is 84 degrees and is falling at a rate of 3 degrees per hour. If the temperatures continue to change at the same rates, how long will it be before the temperatures are the same? Alright, so we read it once. Let's read it looking for information. So we have Detroit. What is the current temperature in Detroit? And what's happening to that temperature?
It's going up.
Good, it's going up by 2. It's rising at a rate of 2 degrees, which means we are adding 2 degrees. How often are we adding this 2 degrees?
Per hour.
Per hour, every single hour. Let's use H for hour. Alright, then we have Atlanta. What's happening in Atlanta? What's its current temperature?
It's 84 degrees. It's falling by 3 per hour.
Very good. 84 degrees. What does it mean if it's falling by 3?
Minus.
Good. Where it's decreasing. Minus 3 degrees again per hour. Not just once, but every single hour.
Every single hour.
All right. Then they ask us if they continue to stay at the same rates, how long will it be before the temperatures are the same? Notice are the same. What does that mean?
Equal.
When are the temperatures equal? And they want to know how long, how many hours will it take. Alright, so we've got Detroit. Detroit's temperature. And Detroit's temperature is currently 69 degrees. And it's rising at a rate of 2 degrees per hour. What are we going to do with 2 and their variable age? What do you think that word per means? 2 degrees per hour. Times, yeah. 2 degrees for every hour multiplied by every hour. If I had, I like this example Ms. Charlotte used earlier. If I had cookies and I gave 2 cookies per person, that means 2 for each person. For each person. So 2 times however many people you have. That would be good. I'm willing for you guys to make cookies. I'm very good for
And see if I get 2 plus how many kids are here, do you think y'all are getting 2 cookies each? No. No?
You're just getting crumbs of that.
Yeah.
Good. Alright, and then let's do our Atlanta temperature. Oh, I did it in the wrong color, that's alright. So our Atlanta temp,
84.
right? 84 degrees, and what's happening to that?
Minus 3.
Minus 3 degrees
H.
per hour. Good. Now we used a variable. What does H represent?
Hour.
Good. Hours. Okay. Great. We've made 2 equations. What do we need to do with these? Oh, Julia, put away that phone. Next time I see you using it, I'll have to take it. What are we going to do with these 2 equations? We know Detroit's temperature. We know Atlanta's temperature. We want to find out what?
How long will it take for it to equal?
For them to be equal, right? For them to be the same. So we want to know, how long does it take for Detroit's temperature to equal Atlanta's temperature? Oh, look there! A nice little equation. Alright, time to solve. No parentheses. There aren't like terms on the same side of the equation. So let's go ahead and start moving things across the equal sign.
Negative 3.
Subtract. What do you want to do?
Move the negative 3.
You want to move the negative 3h? So if we have negative 3h, what do we have to do?
You add it.
Add it, right? The opposite to move it to the other side. I like it when you guys do this. This helps organize it. And sometimes it might actually be helpful for you. You don't have to do this, but sometimes I like to do more than one step at the same time. And it might be helpful for you with organizing your information. If I add my 3h over, I'm going to also subtract the 69 to the other side. This might help you with, because some of you are struggling with knowing what like terms would go together, so this might help you out in putting it in the correct like terms area. Alright, so 69 minus 69, what does that give you?
0.
0. So that's 0. And then 2h plus 3h?
5H.
5h.
Equals
84 minus 69?
15.
15. Good.
Oh.
And what's negative 3h plus 3h? Make hands. Right. Okay, we're almost there.
H equals 3.
Divide by 5. Very good.
H equals 3.
What's 5 divided by 5?
8.
What's 5 divided by 5?
1.
1. Yes, yes. 5 divided by 5 is 1. But 1h is the same thing as just
H.
and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Did we answer the question yet?
No.
What is the question?
H equals
3 hours.
3 hours, right. We have 3, but what does 3 represent? 3 hours. Very good. Questions on that one?
So, yeah.
Okay. One more. We'll do one more. Alright, so number, I think it says 6 on your page. Brittany is going bowling. The cost per game is $3.50. Renee will need to rent a pair of bowling shoes for $1.50. She can spend up to $20 to bowl and rent a pair of shoes. What is the maximum number of games Renee can bowl? Alright, let's look for information here. Renee's going bowling. Great. That doesn't tell us anything for our equations. The cost per game is $3.50. What does it mean to be per something? Times, right? So we have $3.50 times what? Times how many games, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do we know how many games she's played?
X.
No, we're trying to find that out.
X.
You want to do X?
X.
Okay, so our cost for the games is 3.5x. I'm going to go ahead and put a C in there for cost. Okay? Then the next sentence tells us Renee will need to rent a pair of bowling shoes for $1.50. When you rent bowling shoes, do you have to keep re-renting it for each game?
No.
No, you just get it once for the entire night, right? You guys still go bowling? Do they have bowling out here?
Oh, I do.
Yeah? I like it. I stink at it, but it's fun. Anybody still use the gutters? Gutter bumpers?
Yes, I still do.
They're good. They're
What about
great.
the little false slab?
No.
I've seen that before.
I've seen that
It just
before,
takes
too.
so long to go down the
But
lane.
I'd rather just granny bowl it.
No,
Try
but
rock.
we got
I
it.
like to do the whole leg behind the
yeah.
other leg
I don't
thing.
use bumpers, but when I do, I always have fun and purposely try to hit them. And do some
Go back and forth. I try that.
Like, I ran too far forward when I was doing when I was throwing my ball, I fell on
And then
that
you
ball.
fall. Yeah, I've done that before too. It's not fun. It's not fun. Alright, so back to bowling shoes. We only need to buy them once, right? We only need one time. So do I have to do $1.50 times anything? No, it's just a one-time deal. Alright, and she can spend up to $20 to bowl and to rent pair of shoes. The total cost can't be more than $20. She's only got $20 cash. She can't go in debt to the bowling alley. It's not good. What is the maximum number of games? We're trying to find the number of games here. Alright, so she has a total of $20 that she can spend. She can't go higher than that.
I can tell you right now, it's not C or D.
You know that? That is good to have. Okay, so we know it's going to be $1.50 initially to have shoes, right? I'm just going to do 1.5. You can do 1.50. It's the same thing. Plus the cost of the games. How much will she spend total on games? 3.5 C. X, C, G, whatever letter you use, because it's per game. Okay, we used a variable. We have to say what this variable is. What does X represent?
Per game.
The number of games, right. Number of games she plays. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. Jordy, what do you think our first step is going to be? Subtract 1.5? What do we get when we subtract?
Okay, it's 5 games. 18.5.
18.5, good. 1.5 minus 1.5 cancels out. 3.5x. Why did I not subtract my 3.5x over?
Because it has the variable next to it.
Right. This has a variable with it. 20 does not have a variable with it. They're not like terms. So it would have been pointless. Okay. We still need to get x by itself. What do we need to do?
Division.
But you're going to want your calculator for this. No, you want it. You can do long division by hand.
I put this into my calculator and it's some crazy decimal. 5.2.
Yeah, you will get some crazy decimal. Alright, so we get 3.5 divided by 3.5 gives me what? 1, right? So we have 1x, which is just x. And what did you get for your crazy decimal?
5.28571426.
That's 5 games.
28 cents.
Alright, we'll go with 5.28. Okay, so do you buy a 0.28's worth of a game?
No.
No. So how many games maximum can she bowl?
5.
5. Alright, and to double check, let's put 5 back into my equation. If I had 1.5 for shoes, plus 3.5 times 5 games. What does that give me total? 19. Does that come in under 20? Yeah. If she were to play another game, she would go into debt because she doesn't have another 3
And
things.
how much money would she have left over, I wonder?
She'd only have the 1,000 left.
That's tough.
I ain't going to debt and pulling out. I said it's true. Alright, questions on that one? Great. Okay, so let's take a look at. Charlotte, we haven't handed back their mini quizzes yet.
No.
Okay. Oh, please turn in your mini quiz. That would be helpful.
Have you
I turned out
yours
yours.
yet?
No, I just wrote them
I
down.
forgot. I'm gonna write mine down.
Okay. Okay,
If you did
so
not have A, still follow along with this and write it down if you want to. Actually, not if you want to.
Write it on the back.
Quiz over and write it on the back, please. And if you got this wrong and you have A, write it on the back as well.
it's the same idea, the same process. Just
If you got it right, you don't have to write it over. If you got it wrong, you should be writing it down on the back.
Okay, I got you.
If you have B,
is it mini quiz 3?
That's two.
Okay, so remember solving, the first thing we want to do is get rid of parentheses. Do we have parentheses? No, no parentheses. So now we need to combine like terms. On my left side, do I have any like terms?
No.
No. How about my right side?
Yeah.
What can I combine?
12 and negative 3.
Yes, my positive 12m and my negative 3m. Okay, now the mistake that some people were making, when we are combining on the same side, we just combine it together. What is negative 3 plus 12? Right, it is 9m. Positive 9. Some of you were adding 3m. That meant you suddenly took 6m out of thin air and threw it into the problem. You have to do, if you're going to suddenly throw something in, you have to do the same thing to both sides. But when you're combining, just combine it together, simplify. Okay, we've taken care of like terms. So now we want to get letters on one side, numbers on the other. What do you guys want to move first? Alright, what do you want to move? Whichever one we can move. I don't care which one we move. We'll just pick one. 4. Alright, so we have 9m minus 4. The opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. So both sides. Notice I'm crossing that equal sign. Whoa, I just decided to become blue there. Okay. So then we have 9m. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. 9m. What's 5 plus 4? 9. Okay, now let's get our m's together. So what do we have to do here? It's really struggling.
Division.
Right, we want to move the whole thing, right? So subtract 9n. Division allows us to separate this. We want to move the whole thing. Okay. So then we have, what's 9m minus 9n? Nothing, 0, right? It cancels out. And what's 9m minus 9m? 0, right? That cancels out. Does 0 equal 9? No, this is a false statement. When we have a false statement, what do we say? No solution. Make sure you state which one it is.
are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. Because some people get them flip-flopped. You don't know that you know. Questions? Okay, so let's take a look at number 2, the one next to it. So the next one we have is 6r minus 24 equals 6 times r minus 4. The first step with solving, we need to get rid of those parentheses. Cordell, how to get rid of those parentheses?
Distribute. Oh, my bad.
That's alright.
Fine.
Sydney's right, we distribute this to both pieces. So I have 6r minus 24 equals 6r minus 24. Oh look, it's the exact same thing. When it's the same thing, what is our answer? All real numbers.
Way to go.
Wait, I just realized.
Some of you forgot to distribute your 6 to Sydney. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Just make sure you have it done for next class. Okay, questions on that one? Alright, we're gonna do one more. Alright, 5x plus 5 equals 5. Do we have any like terms yet? No? Do we have any parentheses? Alright, so let's get numbers on one side, letters on the other. What are we gonna do? Right, subtract 5.
We're gonna
5x.
Ms. Margaret, we can ask time to ask questions on the review.
Yep. So 5 minus 5 is 0, so we don't have to write that down. What is 5 minus 5 equal?
0.
Okay, are we done?
No, you
No, some of you stopped here. What do we have to do next? Divide by 5. What's 5 divided by 5? 1x, good. So it's just x. What's 0 divided by 5? 0. What does that mean? That is our solution. Just because it's 0 doesn't mean no solution. No solution is only when we have a false statement, like we had here. That is not a true statement, so it's no solution. We are allowed to have x equals 0 be our answer. In fact, if you put it back in, 5 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5, which equals 5. So make sure just because you get x equals 0, that's not no solution. That is a solution. Right, questions on that? Okay. So now let's take a look at questions you have on your review packet as to what you've gotten through so far. So let me turn to that. Okay, what question, Carla? Number 18? Alright, so take a look at your review packets. We've got number 18. The instructions say to write a linear equation and solve. This is in our review packet, what you got off the school up here.
After you finish your quiz, you should have gotten the pack up the school. If you didn't, go ahead and grab one right now.
I love it when they list our instructions.
I have that.
Is there anyone else that needs one? That's not too bad, only. Alright. Number 18 says the Glee Club members decided to wrap the perimeter of their station with fabric. If they measure the perimeter to be 30 feet, what is the value of x? And here is our picture for it. They already had the picture drawn for you. Alright, so let's underline what we have. Decided to wrap the perimeter of their station with fabric. How do we know what perimeter is? Anybody remember? What is perimeter?
People.
Right, it's the addition of all of our sides together. Okay. If they measure the perimeter to be 30 feet, what is the value of x? So we know that P, which is, we'll call it P perimeter. We know our total perimeter is 30 feet, right? And well, our perimeter here is 3x plus x minus 1 plus x plus 3x plus x minus 1, right? 3x plus x minus 1 plus 3x plus x minus 1. And all that added together should equal my total perimeter of 30. Does that make sense? So perimeter is all of the sides added together, all the lengths of the sides added together. They told us what each individual side was. And they told us the total amount was 30. So adding those all together should give us 30. So now let's combine these terms. 3x plus 1x plus 3x plus 1x. How much is that? 8x. And then we have -1, -1, so that's -2. That's 30. Now we need to solve for x, so add 2 to both sides. 8x equals 32. Divide by 8. X equals 4. And let's again double check. It asks us what is the value of x. Well, we found that. If they would have asked us, we should say feet because they told us it's in feet. Sometimes they might ask you what are the sides, and in that case you have to actually go back and find the sides. So here they just x.
But do make sure you read carefully what it's asking for, because if you don't write the sides and it asks you for the sides, you're not going to get full credit even if you did the work correct.
Yeah.
Please read it carefully.
Other questions on the review?
No. No. Thank you.
Don't back up. We still have 5 minutes. I always have more. Number 4?
Oh, wait,
Oh, 4 minutes left. Oh, I've got lots to do in 4 minutes.
Is there any other questions? Those of you who have started doing it, there's another question.
Okay, so I know we've done a lot with solving today, so I'm going to do one, it's been a while since we used our properties, so I'm going to do one with our properties to remind you of your properties. Let's see, what do we have? Let's do 16, that has a lot of work. Nah, let's do 17, that has 16? 16? Okay, so 16, the first step is always given. It's given to us. But then what do we want to do? Distribute.
Distribute
So I have 4x minus 6. Yes, this is your homework. Equals 5x minus 8. This is distributive property.
On Thursday. Are we gonna do that for that?
Barbara, could you go over the notebook with them?
Oh, no. Let me interject with notebooks right now. Make sure you have your notebook in order for next class. Yes, this is worksheet 16 is your homework for next class because we have the test next class. The whole thing because you need to review for your test. The reviews are always long. This is 16 is the review for the test. So on your assignment sheet, it incorrectly says 15. Put it next to that. It should say 16. You know, today you're not getting to worksheet 15, so you don't have to worry about it.
So spell this whole thing with
One. I have 2 more minutes. Hold on.
They will not have 12.
Yes, do all of worksheet 16.
You will not have
All of
12.
worksheet 16.
You will not have worksheet 12. You will not have worksheet 15. Is that correct?
Great. You do not have worksheet 12 or worksheet 15. So you don't have to worry about getting those because we did not give them to you. We didn't have time in class for them. Okay? Oh, look, I still have 2 minutes. Okay, so now I can I can cross my equals, add 6. So I have 4x equals 5x minus 2. So this is the addition property of equality. Equality. Longest 2 minutes of your life. Huh? Okay, and then subtract 5x. So I have, I should have done the other way, shouldn't I? It's alright. So then subtraction property of equality. And then divide by -1. And that's the division property of equality. Isn't it great? Other questions? Okay, so make sure you do a review guide for next class and get your notebook together.